The House today authorized new legal steps against Attorney General William Barr and former White House counsel Don McGahn. Today's vote allows the House counsel to go to court and request enforcement of those subpoenas. We should note Barr and McGahn are not being held in criminal contempt with this vote. That's because the Justice Department reached a deal with the Judiciary Committee earlier this week. Chairman Jerry Nadler says he will now be given access to what he says are some of Robert Mueller's most important files. All committee members will be able to view these documents. Nadler and House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy spoke about the resolution earlier on the House floor.
We have never faced such blanket stonewallings. The president himself said, and they've been as good as their word, they will oppose all of our subpoenas. We must go to court to enforce the subpoenas without a separate floor vote each time if we are going to enforce our subpoenas and reject the arrogant assumption of power and by the administration and denigration of the power of the House and of the Congress.
It does not strengthen Congress' oversight powers, contrary to what you may hear from the other side, Mr. Speaker. Fundamentally, it is an impeachment effort in everything but name.
Let's bring in Nikole, Killion, and Zeke Miller. Nikole is covering the vote today on Capitol Hill, and Zeke is a CBSN political contributor and White House reporter for the Associated Press. Nikole, so what are the next moves here for top House Democrats?
Well, basically, they plan to move forward with their investigations and with taking action in court. Many of these House committee chairs just held a news conference a short time ago, and the head of the Judiciary Committee, Gerald Nadler, made clear that this era is over of the administration essentially as stonewalling Congress and its investigation. So he said specifically that his committee will move as quickly as possible to go to court, specifically against former White House counsel Don McGahn. Of course, his committee has been seeking documents from the former White House counsel, as well as testimony. He is proceeding more cautiously with the Attorney General, of course, this after reaching a deal with the Justice Department just yesterday to view more portions of the redacted version of the Mueller report. So on that front, he did say that he won't go to court against the Attorney General right away, so long as the Justice Department continues to comply with their agreement.
So, Nikole, just to clarify, does this resolution give House Democrats any new powers?
Well, this essentially allows them to enforce their subpoenas in federal court, and that's really what House Democrats have been arguing here. I think Elijah Cummings, who is the chair of the House Oversight and Reform Committee, had the best bite of the day. He said he has not gotten, his committee rather, has not gotten a single shred of paper from the Trump administration. And this is not just about the Russia investigation, whether it's an investigation into security clearances. Cummings said, the investigation into the administration's response with the hurricane in Puerto Rico. There are a number of issues where congressional committees are trying to get information from this administration and so far have not gotten a lot of cooperation and agreement. So what this resolution allows these House committee chairs to do is to go to the House counsel and to move forward with court action to try to enforce some of the subpoenas that they have issued to the administration.
Well, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi addressed impeachment earlier today, and here's some of what she said.
If a majority of the caucus wants to go forward with an impeachment inquiry, would you go for it?
It's not even close in our caucus.
But eventually,
well, why are we speculating on hypotheticals? What we're doing is winning in court. We won a victory getting the documents from the Justice Department today. Nothing as divisive in our country, on my view, than impeachment.
You've said in the past you're not on that path to impeachment. Are you still? How do you reconcile those?
But it's not off the table. You can't. I don't think you should impeach for political reasons, and I don't think you should not impeach for political reasons. It's not about politics.
So, Nikole, are the Speaker's comments that we just heard there in line with how Democratic committee chairs feel?
Well, I think what you're seeing is the House Speaker continue to walk this delicate line and this fine line around the issue of impeachment. There are clearly members of her caucus who want to move forward. She has continued to take a more cautious and measured approach. hoping to see how these congressional investigations play out. During the debate about this resolution, she did make clear that Congress does have oversight duties and functions, but she also made clear that no one is above the law, including the President of the United States. So from that standpoint, her position is in line with rank-and-file Democrats. But on the same token, you have a number of members. You know, each day here on Capitol Hill, you continue to hear this drumbeat from rank-and-file members saying that there is growing sentiment for impeachment. So again, it continues to be a balance for the Speaker.
All right, Nikole, Killion, I know you have to get going. Nikole, thank you so much. Let's continue the conversation with Zeke. So, Zeke, what is the White House's reaction, first of all, to Nancy Pelosi's overall approach to the president?
The White House reaction and strategy here has been consistent over the last month and a half or so, which is just say no. They're not going to provide documents. They're not going to provide the testimony of the individuals whom Democrats on Capitol Hill would like to have testified before the committees under oath. In part, that's because the White House wants to goad Nancy Pelosi into having no choice but to follow the will of some of members of her conference, which is to go down that impeachment path. Pelosi is trying to, walk a very fine line, as we just heard, between going through outright impeachment or continuing these investigations. The White House's calculation, their gamble here, is that the closer this gets to the election, the harder it gets for Pelosi to make that move, number one, and that the worse it would look if she were to take that move. If she were to impeach the president in the fall and early next year, if that's the direction they went to, they believe that would backfire on Democrats and all but secure the president's reelection. From a legal standpoint, Democrats know they're not going to get every document, and the White House knows they're not going to be able to withhold every document. A lot of these things are going to be sorted out in the courts. This is a political fight. It's not often about the individual documents, what's in the document or not. It's about this broader posture towards this battle between these two constitutional branches. And so this is a political fight as much as both sides like to say that it's not. It's not so much a legal one. It's really about politics.
So we've been talking about the House, where Democrats are in control. Let's talk about the Senate. So Donald Trump Jr. is set to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee tomorrow. He cut a deal with the committee last month to appear in a closed-door session with a limited number of questions on Russia. So, Zeke, what information are they seeking from him?
What the Senate, compared to the House, has been much more tight-lipped about its investigation. It's been handled with a lot more discretion, a lot more confidentiality. That's in some cases just the nature of the Senate versus the House. So it's not clear precisely what the committee is looking to see, but folks close to that investigation, people close to Donald Trump Jr. have been sort of putting out there that this is about cleaning up some discrepancies between things that Donald Trump Jr. had told the committee previously and what came out in the Mueller report, and in part because documents that became public, just basically cross-referencing what he had testified previously with what we now know to be in the public record. Nobody's really expecting very many bombshells out of this. It's largely pro forma, just dotting the I's and crossing the T's, which is how it's been described on Capitol Hill. But at the same time, an important step on the part of the committee. This is Republicans control the Senate. They're calling the president's son before their committee in the continuation of this Russia probe. The president continues to call a witch hunt. It's really a kind of a stunning display of independence on the part of a part of the committee and part of the chairman there. But it's not nobody's really expecting many fireworks to come out of it.
Stunning nonetheless, though. All right, Zeke Miller in Washington for us. Zeke, thank you.
Thank you.